Transformers, more than meets the eye. What's going down, fam? Your homie Jay Greene, fresh up out of that theater after watching Transformers Rise of the Beast, and I'm happy to say I hella enjoyed this film. And I do think that this franchise is finally on the right path, and let me give you a little bit of history as to why I would say such a thing. So back in 2007, the original Michael Bay Transformers comes out, blows my mind based on how dope and realistic the Transformers look, and of course, you're not gonna knock Michael Bay for the way that he shoots action. There's a lot of things that this man does wrong, but action is not one of them. With that said, by the end of that movie, I was ready for the next one. Then I saw the next one. Then I saw the third one. Now, I will say that the Chicago battle was dope, but then Age of Extinction and Last Night? Yikes. The magic of humans and big-ass robots coming together to fight threats not of this world had been lost through pointless storylines, ridiculous human characters, and gratuitous butt shots. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really that mad at that one. And not to mention culturally stereotypical Transformers and racist jokes. Then comes Bumblebee, directed by Travis Knight. Now this right here was an awesome answer to what the franchise had been missing. Now I'd probably say that this movie is highly overlooked by most based on the shit that Michael Bay and team had been giving us. But it was still pretty successful and went on to make $468 million on only $135 million spent. That's pretty good. Which brings us to Transformers Rise of the Beast. Now when I first saw the trailer I was like, it looks pretty cool, but I ain't gonna front. Aside from Bumblebee, based on everything except for the original Transformers film, I had a bad taste in my mouth, so I didn't know if I wanted to give it my full attention. But then I found out that Stephen Caple Jr., the same cat that took on Creed after Ryan Coogler stepped down from the directing chair, and I loved what he did with Creed 2. So when I found that out, I was like, hell yeah, now I'm on board. Let's see what this guy has to give us. Based on what he did in Creed, I had faith in this man's storytelling abilities, the way that he directs action, and how he develops characters, which are three things where this movie shines. Throughout this movie, we're following Noah Diaz, played by Anthony Ramos. This guy is an ex-military vet, and he's just trying to catch a break so he can help out his family with some bills. You know how it is. So when this man's back is up against the wall, in order to make some change, he starts boosting cars. And the first car that he boosts is a damn Autobot. What luck. Meanwhile, crosstown out of town, Unicron and his henchmen are looking for this special key that will allow them to book reservations for dinner on Earth. Now in an attempt to stop them, Autobots link up with Noah and Elena, played by Dominique Fishback. They run into the Maximals, and now we are off on our globe-trotting action adventure with heart in order to save the world. Now let's talk about acting real quick. Anthony Ramos carries this movie extremely well. Very entertaining, very heartfelt acting when the time was right, fun when the time needed to be, and you believed every single action set piece that he was in. This guy did a phenomenal job. Dominique was great as well. They got great chemistry together, great banter, but I'm gonna tell you like this, the person that steals the show, the Autobot that steals the show is Mirage, voiced by Pete Davidson. This guy was hilarious, heartfelt, everything that you needed to believe between him and Anthony Ramos' character, you believed. And then when he was doing banter between Optimus and everybody else, and even the Maximals, the Beast, you believed all that too. It was so great to see or hear Pete Davidson playing Mirage. He was phenomenal. One thing that I really loved about our two main characters is that they both have their own realistic and grounded motivations, reasons for going on this crazy, insane, potential suicide mission. Also, big ups to the film for actually giving enough backstory and development to both of these characters' backgrounds, skill sets, career fields, so then that way when they're playing these key roles in the movie, you believe that they are able to do what they're doing. Now let's talk about the Maximals for a second. I think that they did a great job bringing these beast-like robots to life. Let's be frank. You got a gorilla, you got a rhino, you got a cheetah, you got a freaking bird. If you mess up these robotic animals, the whole movie could feel extremely cheesy. But with the voice acting behind them and the realistic look, not too many, mechanical moving parts like the original Michael Bay Transformers. They're a little bit more grounded. You can see a little bit more of the animal as opposed to the robot. And then when they flip into the robots, my God, this shit was dope as hell. So big ups for bringing that shit to life. Now, as much as the Autobots and the Maximals looked dope, the sound design for the entire film was phenomenal. I was able to see this in an AMC Dolby Cinema. Now, if you've heard my thoughts before on the AMC Dolby Cinema, it is the best viewing experience aside from IMAX, which of course is going to be a little bit different on the screen. But if we're talking about visuals and sound, the Dolby Cinema is the best. And the sound design was so legit that whenever Unicron is popping up on screen, entering the atmosphere or something like that to try to eat one of these planets or do whatever, or he's talking with that deep ass voice, or you're hearing like, you know, the beasts, the Maximals chopping it up, yo, my seat was rattling. During the action scenes, your seat is rattling. It was so much fun. You kind of feel a lot more involved in the film. You feel a lot more immersed in the entire film with that type of sound design and that type of theater going experience. I would definitely say check it out in that type of theater. Now let's talk about the Transformers swag in general. I feel like in the original Transformers films, we got a lot of human element that we just didn't need, or we didn't need because it just didn't work. So we're kind of either bored or annoyed by it half of the time. In this film, I feel like they're giving us just enough of that human element, once again, to understand why they're doing this, how they're capable of doing what they're doing, right? But we get so much more of the Transformers, just like we kind of did in Bumblebee. This movie focuses on them. We got Unicron, we understand what he's doing. We got his little minions, we understand what they doing. We got Optimus and his crew, we understand what they about. We understand the Beast War Cats, or we understand the Maximals. We understand all of that, but at the same time, the humans are maybe a little bit of the complement to the heart of that story overall. So I love how this movie focuses on the Transformers a lot more than what we've had in previous movies. That's something you're gonna get. Loved it. Also, if you know the 86 Transformers animated movie, there's a little something that jumps off in the end of this movie that's very reminiscent to some stuff in that film. And when I seen it pop up, I was like, okay, now we're getting deep with some Transformers swag for real, for real. I really feel like they are bringing the Transformers comics and cartoons to the big screen finally, and I love that shit. Don't leave too quick when the credits start rolling. There is going to be a little something something after the credits go. I thought it was dope as hell. It's something that's been talked about amongst people that keep their ear to the ground when it comes to movie news. It's been talked about for a while. Maybe it was a little forced, but based on Bumblebee, based on what Stephen Caple Jr. was able to do with this installment of the new rebooted Transformers, if you will, I'm kind of excited to see where this thing could go. Yo, when you check this movie out and you see that thing, if you're a fan of the Transformers and other things, let me know in the comment below what you think about it. Now again, like I said, I'm fresh up out of the theater watching this, so I am on a Transformers high. So I'm thinking of a lot of the positives, right? If I had to nitpick on anything in this film, I would feel like maybe there was some things where they tried to push that emotional, heartwarming element a bit too far. Maybe it was a little bit cheesy. But I'm saying a little bit. There's a little kid in this movie that plays Noah's brother. Super cute kid. Hella dope. There's some things that are pushed, but it's just right in that line. Again, it's not something that I would complain about. It's just if I gotta look for the pros and cons, I'm stretching, I'm reaching for something. Maybe a little bit of that cheese here or there. Maybe there are some moments during some battles where there's like extra time for these drawn out conversations that just don't really feel realistic to everything the movie is trying to show us. But again, I am nitpicking at this point. I think that this is a great installment to the rebooted Transformers film. If you didn't see Bumblebee for whatever reason, because you had the stench of what Michael Bay had done, check Bumblebee out, check this movie out. It kind of follows right into it, and I'm excited to see where it's going. Yo, I think you should check this one out. What say you? Do you got your tickets already? Have you seen it already? Comment below. Let me know what's good. Your homie, Jay Greene. I'm out. Another thing that if I'm nitpicking and if I'm reaching, there are a lot of things that happen in this movie based on coincidence, happenstance, pure luck, or the script said so. But again, a lot of the times when those things happen, but the movie is really good, for me, I'm gonna overlook that shit for real. And I'm sure most of y'all out there would as well. But it is there. For instance, just one time, I want one of these people that happen to stumble upon a Transformer to find a Decepticon, right? Find one of the villains rather than an Autobot and just get killed straight away. And now all we're watching is everything from a Decepticon's point of view. Wouldn't that be interesting? See what happens there. Try something new.